Casey. His mic's on.
His mic's on.
Welcome to the city council meeting, or workshop for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. We'll start out with public input. Citizens may address the council regarding any item of city business that is not on tonight's agenda. The duration of an individual speaking under the public input is limited to 3 minutes. While all comments are welcome, the council will not take action on any item not on the agenda tonight. Do we have anybody?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Claire Anderson, and I'm an 8th grader at the Laurel Middle School. I was selected for the Benjamin Project this year, which is where you're given $100 in seed money to raise money for a charity of your choice. I chose to raise money for the Laurel EMS ambulance we're trying to purchase, and so I did that by buying tickets, $1,000 worth, and raffling off for $5. And I'm selling them at my school at basketball games, and I put a video on Facebook, kind of just putting it out there. And currently I'm at $2,700 raised, and my goal is $3,000, but we printed enough for $5,000. I am doing a drawing on March 2nd, and it's going really well right now. And I also did this last year, raising money for CASA, but I've raised more money already, and I'm hoping to just kind of improve a lot over this one.
What's the raffle for?
It's for an iPad Air with a folio case and an Apple Pencil, which is what I used my $100 in seed money to purchase.
And is there a way the public that are watching or anybody here can buy raffle tickets from you now?
Yeah, so we are taking Venmos on Facebook, like on our video. If you just comment, we can get your Venmo. And at the basketball games, like I said, you can just purchase them there for the ones we're going to. And at school, if you have like a grandkid or kid in school, I set up booths Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
And are you seeing by chance the high school basketball also?
Yeah. So I've gone to 2 high school basketball games now. We're not gonna go to all of them, I don't think, but kind of school and Facebook is doing better than the games, which was actually surprising, but we're hoping to get those bringing up sales more.
Well, when you turn around and go to your seat, give all them people out behind you your old puppy eyes and watch the money flow in, especially the refiner guys.
Okay.
Technically, we're not supposed to have any comment, but I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Oh, I shared it on I'm her mother, Holly Anderson. We shared it on my page and then also the community pages.
Oh, yeah.
And the EMS services also shared it. If Venmo isn't an option for folks, we are making arrangements to go meet up with people. So it's not like digital is the only means necessary. We will travel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Are you gonna stick around after the meeting so we can buy tickets?
I am going to pitching lessons. So
Well, I don't use Venmo, so,
yeah, it's also possible, like we can make arrangements to meet up with you if that works.
okay, we'll see if we can make that work.
Okay, thank you.
Irving, Jody will help me get in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's a great thing you're doing. I mean, that's awesome. You know, for a young girl, that is truly awesome, and it's a good cause.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you want to say anything? Or do we have anybody else?
Mr. Vila, are you there?
I am Mr. Mayor. Am I up?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, first, Mr. Mayor, thank you for letting me follow that fine gentle lady. There's nothing I can say that's going to look better than what she's doing. So timing is perfect. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. As previously promised, I committed that the Laurel City Council would be the first to know of any actions regarding the development of the behavioral health facility authorized by the 2025 legislature in House Bill 5, Section 17. I'm here tonight to fulfill that commitment. The Montana Board of Investments has executed a buy-sell agreement to purchase approximately 114 acres located west of Laurel along Highway 10. With this agreement in place, BOI will now begin the formal process of requesting annexation and assignment of zoning from the city of Laurel. A map indicating the specific location has been sent to Ms. Strecker for your records and information. I'm also including the plan submitted by Department of Public Health and Human Services Director Charles Brereton and myself that was approved by the State Budget Director on November 28th, which does, in fact, include a draft floor plan. I am concurrently informing local legislators to ensure they remain fully apprised as the project advances. BOI and all our partners look forward to working closely with the city staff, elected officials, and community members throughout this process. Thank you for your time this evening. I look forward to meeting you in person in the coming weeks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have any more public input?
I do, Mr. Mayor. I have a letter to read. That
Okay,
was submitted on our website. And this was submitted Tuesday, January 20th. It's from a gentleman named Kyle Farley, and it says, "Hi, my name is Kyle Farley, address 1001 South Douglas Highway, Suite 201. Public Comment Visionary Communications respectfully states its intent to initiate and negotiate a telecommunication franchise agreement with the town of Laurel, Montana, in order to lawfully provide and expand telecommunication services within the town's public rights-of-way. Visionary Communication is requesting that the proposed franchise agreement be scheduled for consideration on a first reading as early as February, subject to the town's procedural requirements. Visionary Communications committing to working collaboratively with town staff, legal counsel, and other designated representatives to support the town's review process, respond to informational needs, and facilitate timely consideration of the franchise agreement in a manner that aligns with the municipal objectives and applicable law." And this is from Kyle Farley at visionarybroadband.com.
thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to general items. We have the appointment of Joe Halsworth to the
Joe Halswell.
Halsworth to the tree board, park board for the remainder of a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2028. He's not here, is he?
He's not.
Okay,
Man.
you may.
Okay, so Joe has approached me numerous times over the last 3 or 4 years to get more involved in his community. He just lives not too far away from here. And he was wanting to get on something to help back with the community of Laurel. He does work for the DNRC. He is the area manager for the DNRC out of the Billings office. So he'd like to come on. He's been approaching me for a long time for this. So he has a lot of expertise with the DNRC. He oversees the DNRC forestry out of Billings. And so I think he'd be a good fit for the tree park board. He'll bring a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge in on that, for that park board and tree board. So on his behalf, I am speaking on behalf of him that I believe he would be a good fit for the tree and park board for the city of Laurel.
Before we go to executive review, did you say you got pitching to go to? You can feel free to go. because it might get longer here, so. But thank you very much. Okay. Under a mayor resolution, we have a resolution of the city council authorizing the removal of city council member Heidi Sparks from all city accounts, adding city council president Thomas J. Canopy, and adding chief administrative officer Kurt Markegard to all such accounts. So we have that. Next, we have a planning resolution. A resolution of the city council of the city of Laurel, Montana, approving agreement between Peaks Planning and Consulting LLC and the city of Laurel related to an on-call planning service. You have anything on this?
So this is for the planning department. We had a contract with KLJ Engineering that had a subcontract with Peaks Planning and Consulting. That contract expired in December. We have a lot of things going on in planning right now. And so there's a lot of things that I can't get accomplished in the work week. So I asked for this to be brought to city council. It's a short-term plan. It's only for a few months. And then we're going out RFP. We also have engineering services that we need to go out for because that contract with KLJ expired in December. So working with the Public Works Director, Matt Wheeler, we're going to be posting it. We're going to separate it this time. We're going to do engineering services for Public Works. And then we're going to have planning as a separate, so they're not conjoined. So we'd have the ability to talk to each firm separately than going through one firm. And so that was the plan. So tonight we have that on there as the Peaks Planning and Consulting and their hourly rate. It's the same hourly rate I think Laura is getting. So Forrest Anderson is here tonight. He's actually doing the Laurel Urban Renewal Plan within that district and that planning only within that district. This would cover subdivision reviews and stuff as people are applying to that. I think I currently have 4 subdivisions upstairs, a couple in the city. Mr. Schulberg's got one in the city right now under review and going through that. And then we have, I think, 3 outside the city limits in the county. So there's a lot of work behind that. You have to have pre-application meetings. Then you have preliminary plat approval. That'll come to, if they're in the city limits, they come to the county planning board first, and then they go to if they're in the county, they go to the county commissioners. And if they're in the city, they come to the city council. So there's a lot of work that goes on bringing those things forward. And the mayor and I talked, and we need a little bit of gap in there, planning assistance to get through until we actually seek out a firm that can do the Laurel Urban Renewal Plan, the land use plan that the state of Montana has required the city to do. So with this is a short-term gap. And then we do have under other, I think it was handed out. Brittany, was it handed out? Yeah. Engineering. Oh, you guys got a copy of that? So we didn't make it to the agenda by Friday, but we're going to bring it. I didn't want to bring it up as not tonight. So Matt worked with KLJ to get a short-term plan with KLJ to continue them on a month-to-month basis or up until April while we go through the whole RFP, request for proposals for engineering services. So this is a short-term gap, and then we're going to go forward and make a selection and bring it back to you hopefully in March with that, how that city's interviewed and got the planning and then the engineering done. So that is about it. That's all I can say. We do have Forrest here to answer any questions about his contract.
Councilmember McKay?
Thank you. With this being just something that's coming in now, how does that work budget wise for the on-call planning? If it wasn't something we were intending to have, do we have the funds to cover that? Is it in the budget?
Yeah, so the whole planning budget there is a whole planning department and a planning department. I'm more or less off of a lot of that planning department. I'm still overseeing it, but when I'm doing all the work, it's not able to do the rest of the work. But yeah, it's still we do a fiscal budget that ends June 30th. So yeah, so that it's still in there. When we prepared the budget, it was for a full year, and the contract that we had with KLJ ended in December. Otherwise, it would still be going on if that term of their contract had kept going, so.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to council issues. We have Public Works discussion, CHS Stormwater. Is this yours, Matt? Or, oh, okay, you have,
Come on up. So CHS Refinery has been working to help us out with the drainage issues on the south side of town. And it's also beneficial for them. But you can hear them out, what they have to say. It's a great thing.
Just remind people that were on, I think, Public Works Committee last year had some discussions about CHS had approached in Travis. They had already presented a Public Works Committee. So the new council members on there, you probably weren't privy to that. But they did start out going through that's fine. Going through the Public Works Committee and talking about stormwater issues and
yeah.
so anyway.
It's like Jason.
So city staff has met with CHS Refinery and with KLJ to have discussions about this, not only outside of Public Works Committee, but then at the refinery, having discussions about what needs to be done on the south side of Laurel and how to mitigate stormwater that leaves the city of Laurel and goes into CHS Refinery. So
I appreciate it. Thanks, Kurt.
turn it over to Travis with
Yeah.
KLJ.
You're gonna have two documents there. One is the July memorandum, like Kurt said, we were meeting with Public Works Committee several months ago to discuss this. We've made a couple of tweaks since then. The December one is the current concept, so that'll be your reference point, I guess, moving forward. It's just if there's comparison and it's minor tweaks. So for background, south side of Laurel has historical flooding issues. A lot of that's related to drainage path that was cut off when interstate was built. And then there was a 24-inch culvert that was installed underneath the interstate, undersized culvert, not necessarily the right elevation. And then that discharges onto CHS property. So that causes operational issues for both CHS and the city of Laurel because you can't maintain both sides of it. We got stormwater running onto CHS, which then leads to issues for them for monitoring when they have to release because they have to monitor for like petroleum products, things like that when they discharge. So with the culvert being undersized, causes some flooding. The goal of the project when we initiated it was to try to identify options to separate that stormwater. So again, you got city stormwater going one path, CHS has their own. Don't mix the two because again, that causes issues. So the reason we wanted to get together with everybody is to present the current concept, solicit feedback on this, and then see if we can get a path forward. So we'd like to pursue potential grant funding for this or loan funding where there's opportunities. And then also CHS wants to move forward with getting a design in place so we can get a solid cost estimate together. And then that cost estimate, the goal would be have plus or minus 10% type of level of accuracy, which improves the possibility of pursuing grant funds and again, getting money to support the project. As far as the proposal from CHS, their intent would be to pay for the design and then the city would manage the construction phase of the project. No commitment or obligation on city's part for anything related to construction funds because again, we have to have the cost figured out first, find out what we'd have for funding sources, and that would be something that would be a decision later on between city and CHS to work out. Right now, the intent is to get approval and support to move forward with the design. And again, CHS would be funding that piece. So the current concept, I'm going to break it out into three pieces. So you've got your stormwater inlet, the pipe to actually take it out, and then the outfall structure. So the inlet, the intent would be to put that near 5th Street and 1st Avenue. That would be sized for approximately 26 CFS, which is a 15-year storm event. And we had intended to design the inlet capacity to 40 CFS to account for any larger storm events. And that would also allow for the combination of water passing through the 24-inch pipe as well. The inlet would be designed based on a 50% reduction factor. So you've got your overall inlet, I'm using round numbers, let's say it's 10 by 10. We're talking a 50% reduction for clogging of leaves, brush, branches, whatever, to where half of that area we would assume is clogged when we were sizing this inlet to make sure we have plenty of capacity there. And then from that point, it would just be maintenance from the city side to make sure you keep that cleaned out so that inlet can function. And then the inlet would also, so the resulting inlet grates would be 3 2-foot by 3-foot inlet grates, and they would be set at an elevation about 1 foot lower than the invert of the existing 24-inch culvert. The reason we're doing that is, again, the intent is to separate the stormwater so you're not mixing CHS with the city stormwater. So existing culvert is up higher, new one's lower. So any normal storm events, the 15-year, it's flooding through the new system and it's not going onto CHS property. So that's a quick overview on the inlet. The pipe itself would be a 48-inch pipe to convey water out to the outfall compared to, again, the 24-inch. So much larger diameter, much larger carrying capacity. It should be a solid benefit to the city. Really, you know, it's gonna improve flows in that entire area. And then the size, that 48-inch culvert, that would accommodate a 50-year storm event without overflowing Russell Park. There will still be water that would back up on the streets, but as your start to back up on the streets, then it would flow into the existing 24-inch. So you're not diminishing any capacity, you're only increasing. And then for the outfall, we're still working with CHS, and we'll also work with the city and Matt and Kurt on the final details of that, of where that outfall would be, but it's going to be generally the end of south end of Yellowstone Avenue. It would be on CHS property, and CHS would grant access to the city for maintenance and operations of that facility. And with all of this, the intent would be after construction, city takes over ownership and maintenance after it's all in place. With the outfall, there would also be a pond for surge and settling. And then from there, we would discharge either into wetlands or directly into the canal, depending upon how that all shakes out with where the pond ends up at. So as far as some changes from the July version, one of the big things is maintaining that existing 24-inch culvert under the interstate. Originally, we came in and said, hey, we'd like to abandon that. With feedback from the city and Kurt and Matt, we decided we'll leave that in place, and instead we'll just lower the inlet on ours. That way we cover most of the storm events through the normal operation, and then, you know, flood type of scenarios, then we're utilizing all options. So with that, I don't know if there's any other questions, Kurt, or if there's any opportunity for discussion on this or not.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so there was discussion about this with CHS and Derek Yeager with the county DES sent over a grant opportunity that the city of Laurel could apply for a grant, and it's mitigation grant. So we submitted a letter of interest. The grant is not due until March, I believe. And part of that is it's to mitigate, stormwater is one of the parameters to do that. So with that, I forwarded that to CHS Refiner and said, well, maybe there's a grant that we can help get for the city of Laurel to help the contribution that CHS Refinery is willing to do. And so with that, I believe the city of Laurel is going to have an MOU with the CHS Refinery, I believe. And I'm not sure if anyone at the CHS Refinery is here to, but in order for the city council to go forward granting that, we'd have to have something like an MOU put in place that says, hey, if we get grant funding, we'll help do the project. Or like I said, it's not due till March, but we have the month of February. In the next couple cycles, if we can get something back, like an MOU to discuss how the city council can green light this, and then we could apply for a grant. It's my understanding that anyone from the CHS, you'll help prepare the grant. Is that true, or?
Yeah.
If anyone. So right now, there's little or no participation of the city staff helping it. CHS has been really good about wanting to partner with it and trying to deal with the stormwater on the south side and get it around. I would have to say, Travis, can you talk about the city's stormwater master plan a little bit? Do you have any?
I can.
Okay.
A little bit, Kurt. I
Okay.
don't have the details about, I'd probably have to defer a lot of it to Ryan and Travis Copper.
If I may, Mr. Mayor. So anyway, when we were discussing on fixing streets on the south side of Laurel and getting them to a condition where they could be paved, we understood that historically stormwater, rain, snow, melt, whatever else would cause some issues on the south side. So at the Public Works, when I was in the Public Works Director, we set up when we were going to pave South 4th Street. We knew that we were going to have to deal with some stormwater because we can't do a lot of street repairs, inlets and everything else where it actually goes nowhere. So we had no storm system on the south side. It all ran gravity feed to a 24-inch culvert that goes into the refinery. That's how it was set up by the highway department when they went in with the Interstate 1964. We were always over there cleaning that. Every time we have a heavy rain event, me or Matt would send somebody over to constantly monitor that. It was being plugged up on the south half, sometimes the north half. We were over there constantly dealing with that every rain event. Not unlike everyone else in town, we had spots. This was one of those criteria down there where we didn't have enough stormwater capacity. So we put together, when we did that street project, we're gonna have storm drains put in, and we're gonna put in essentially a detention pond and some way to clean it. So we spent, I believe, almost $2 million of just for stormwater down on the south side in order for that street to be paved. With that, in order to get that, we had a south side stormwater master plan. And the first part of that plan was to put a pond in, lower the elevation of the park to where water would flow into that, and then dissipate into the ground through a gravity drain, or sorry, a percolation drain. Or if it was to such capacity, it would then flow through the 24-inch culvert. But we wanted to take a lot of that stress off of water going into the CHS refinery. We understood it was a problem when we tried to help deal with that. So the first phase of our stormwater, Southside Storm Master Plan was to build this pond, put in underground inlets over to South 4th Street, which was completed. The second part of that was to take the stormwater out of the south side from that pond and try to get it underneath the interstate, north side of CHS refinery, and get it back to the river somehow. That plan was visionary of trying to go along the north side of the interstate through the overpass where there's a railroad, and then the northbound and southbound lanes, get it out into a clover leaf, going into Billings, I guess, to get onto the interstate, going through that, and then connecting it north of the CHS refinery. There's a natural drain in there that was there before the interstate went in. That was the long-term plan. I think that's projected to be like $10 million. Well, we don't have $10 million. So with that, CHS refinery realized through the conversations over the years that they want to help do something and get that stormwater out of that same area. We don't want to do that. So when we did a $2 million project trying to help eliminate a lot of that stormwater going through CHS refinery, they have now wanted to come in and decide, we're going to try to partner with the city and try to go around and take it out of it. Like I said, the concerns we had is if you mess with stormwater and then people get flooded, who's going to be on the hook for that? So the original plan that they brought to us was to abandon the 24-inch. Through discussions with me and Matt, we didn't want anyone to be flooded on the south side. And so we wanted to keep that pipe there until this one was up and running, and then we can evaluate that in the future. Leave it in place right now, and then evaluate in the future if it's actually working, and we can go through the rain events and test the design. And then we'd have a future discussion about that 24-inch pipe going underneath the interstate if it really, really rains hard. So with that, I mean, that's kind of where we've been through with city staff, with the Public Works Committee, with CHS Refinery, and now this letter of interest to apply for a grant. We have to follow up and then apply for the grant in March. And so I think if the council wants to consider this going forward, we're not asking for a vote tonight, and we're not putting something on next week for you to discuss approval. In theory, we want you to be aware of what's going on, and then hopefully we can bring something to you on council to get your permission. And I don't know if you guys thought of anything else?
The one question I have is regarding the MOU for the grant funding. Do you know, would that be something that could be generalized so it's not just the resiliency grant, Kurt, and it could apply to other grants that move forward, or does it have to be taken case by case with each grant application?
We could write the MOU any way we want. To move the project forward and to apply for the grant, I think we're gonna have an MOU to move that forward that the refinery and the city council can consider. And then it's not obligating either one of us right now, I don't think.
Correct.
And then what that MOU would be considering. I know that the CHS refinery has been generous and they want to try to move forward with it and help pay for some of it. Is that my understanding, Shane? The refinery manager's in attendance tonight, so that was my understanding, that they wanted to help participate and pay for it. And because it was in our stormwater master plan for the south side, and I think there is some obligation that we need to work with our partners to the south side of the interstate to get something. We're going to need some kind of an MOU put together so that we can move forward towards the project and have that understanding. So, but with that, I would entertain that being referred over to the city attorney to move something forward. And if the CHS refinery or KLJ can help with that, I think that would be probably the best path forward. In the meantime, we can start working on that grant and getting grants submitted if they're going to help us, and then get that submitted to see if there's additional funding there. So.
Councilmember Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Where this water ends up, is that going to be an issue for the DEQ?
It shouldn't be an issue. So the plan will be that right now it'll end up either in the canal that already routes through and ends up in the river, or go through the wetlands and just infiltrate through and work its way out the same path. It'll be just upstream, I believe. Right now, tentatively, it'll be just upstream of your guys' intake. So that'll be the piece that Kurt and I have discussed previously, that we need to make sure when we're doing it, we're accounting for, settling, removal of debris, things like that, so we're not impacting water quality issues.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions?
I'm Justin Schofar. I'm the project manager at CHS that's working on this. And like Travis said, right now, we're wanting to get to detailed design on this route so we can get some good estimating, so we can find out what it's going to cost. So that's why, we've talked with Kurt and Matt and come to a work session before. And if we can get going on detailed design, which is going to take, how long is that going to take us? Do you have an idea, Travis?
I think with back rough, we're probably talking a year.
Okay. And then there's permitting that we'll have to also work with the city to get permitting. The route goes, as you can see, it goes along I-90. And it might encroach on that. We'll have to get some permits for that. Permitting going down Yellowstone Avenue. And then all kinds of DEQ permitting and stuff we'll have to work, that's going to take time in order to get the detailed design done. So the sooner we can get started on that, the sooner we can find out exactly what it's going to cost and see how we're going to pay for it.
And then also by having that detailed design done, ready to go, if for some reason, the project's set on the shelf for a period of time and it's, year, 2 years out before they plan to build it, it's ready to go, so that if there is a grant application or opportunity that arises, you can turn it in quickly and capitalize on that. So.
Thanks.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Another Public Works discussion. We have the old Rod and Gun Club building feasibility. Is this you, Matt?
Sure.
Well, it says Public Works, so that's why.
Well, we've had a lot of talk in Park Board about the possibility of using that particular building again, which is the log building at the park. It has not been used for a period of time. However, all of us believe that if somebody wanted to take it over, that it could be made usable again. And I think that would be the intent was to have somebody take charge of the building like we've done with some of the other buildings down there, whether it be the Lions or Richards building. So I would be agreeable for sure if somebody wanted to do that.
So if CHS wanted to take it over for the CHS Rod and Gun Club and refurb it?
New offices.
Does anybody have any questions or comments about possibility of using that building? Councilman Wilkie.
Thank you. Like Matt has said, we've discussed this just about every meeting we've had in some form or fashion. And we know that you want that building to be used. We want it to be used. Right now, there's a proposal to clean it up and use it for the BB gun group, and Jamie with her air rifle group and bows and arrows, indoor shooting there, which we've had archery shooting in there for years and years and years until we got locked out. It needs to be cleaned up. The Rod and Gun Club still has articles in there. We're gonna go in there and take an inventory of what we have and see what the possibility is getting that cleaned out of there. We have been told over and over and over that the sewage system does not work. And our belief is that it's never been tested, so we don't know that for a fact. We were also told over and over and over that it was, that's the word I'm looking for, Tom. Condemned because of the flood water. And that hasn't been checked. We did, the Rod and Gun Club did get a letter from the Yellowstone, is that right, Yellowstone Health? Riverstone, thank you. The Riverstone Health to say that the septic system could be repaired if there was parts of it that needed to be replaced or repaired. We could not completely rebuild it. But that stalled when we got locked out at about 2013, or I think it was 2013 or 14, that we got locked out and told that it was condemned. And it's been that way ever since. Somebody told me that if we do shooting in there, it can't be a permanent fix. And with the Rod and Gun Club's desire and wish and to have a building up north of the airport where our new range is, any shooting facility down here that's for the shooting education sports in Laurel would move out there, and we would accommodate their shooting abilities out there. Part of the reason is this is coming forward a little bit from time to time is Paul, in charge of the Riverside Hall, is finding damage in there from BBs. I don't think it is, but he claims that it is. I had the instructor and I went down there when we first heard about the damage down there, and we determined that those damages were done down there 30 years ago. I mean, that's how long ago that those people have been shooting in there. And she has a drop cloth that's supposed to stop all of that. She has targets that are supposed to collect all of that. So I don't know for a fact that there is truly damage in there, but the same issue could come up over there at the Rod and Gun Club building. If she doesn't use the proper drop cloths and stuff to keep the PBs from hitting the walls, we could have glass issues down there because that building's got glass almost all the way around it. So with that, we would really like to see that building, somebody champion it outright. The Rod and Gun Club give up on it. When we were told we were locked out, we had from Alpha Omega, a $46,000 bid to go in there and make it habitable. And that would have taken care of everything. It would have been back in service, usable. We could have rented it. whatever, it would have been just fine, but when we were told that it was, abandoned, we got shut out and we just kind of dropped it. We just let it go. So that's basically what we're looking at.
Do you want it back?
What's that?
We won't log you out. We'll open it up for you. You want it back?
The rod gun?
Sure.
Probably not, because we're looking at probably a huge bill to build the one out north, so.
Oh, okay. Huh? We won't lock you out. Councilman Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we talk about the water and sewer down at that building, to me, that's the big hiccup from anybody occupying that building or multiple people occupying that building. Is there a way that the city could take some water down there and run it through their sewer system to see if that thing actually works? Or if the line from the building to the septic tank is kaput? And also, CAO Markegard discovered a water leak down there a couple weeks ago that was repaired. But I don't know if that affected the water line to the building or not, or if that can be re-hooked up, or what's involved in getting water back to the building.
We happen to have the man that could answer both of them questions.
So Richard, all that being said, yes, we can get water to the building rather easily. Power can be restored rather easily. As far as the septic, I would suspect that there may be some issues with it. However, if you believe that we have permission to do some fixing on it, we can hire somebody to come in and fix on that as well. So in my mind, the decision, all this stuff can be handled if everybody agrees that we want to be able to use this building again, or the city let somebody else use the building again.
Are we looking to find somebody to take over the building before we fix it, or fix it and then see if Jamie Krug and her crew want to go in there, or what?
I think once we would find out if the sewer system needs to be repaired or the water line and stuff, I think once that was taken care of, as far as knowing what needs to be done, we could probably get some people interested in moving in there.
Councilman, okay.
Thank you. I think, with what Councilmember Closey said, to figure out what the issues are. So I think it would make more sense to go over it with a fine tooth comb, whether it be, Matt's department, or if it's a contractor or an engineer, somebody that goes over, does a home inspection basically, and sees what the issues are before we start thinking about who we want to take it over, or do we want to, we need to know if it's worth it. So my thought is that would be where we would start first, is some sort of full inspection, top to bottom, see what our issues are, figure out how much that's going to cost, and is it even worth it? That's my thought.
That's a good one. I mean, we might be locking somebody out again. I mean, if we let somebody have it, and then it turned around, there was a problem that we couldn't fix. So it might pay to just have a home inspection like that, building inspection. You want something? Okay. Councilmember Wilkie.
Thank you. The letter that we received from that health group is probably no longer good. We'd probably have to engage them again and get their outlook on it. I'm not sure I can even find that letter. I'm not sure, Tom, you mentioned that at one time there was a letter that was submitted to the city and somebody signed for it. It hasn't been able to be recovered. So we may have to go back to that group and ask them if they can, and I'm not sure how they did that originally. I don't even know if they were out here. They may have taken the report from Tetra Tech, who's originally did the mold and lead test down there, and submitted a report. That report is the one that went to the city. So anyway, we should look into that before we get too far.
Councilmember Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if this issue was brought to city council for a vote on a inspection, would there be money to have like a plumbing company check the sewer system out? Since Matt said that the water could be hooked back up again?
Yes, we can make that work, but what I'd like to see done first is that you allow Public Works to have the opportunity to do what we can do with the building. Just as far as the real heavy stuff, making sure the water's there. And then when it gets to plumbing, septic, we can talk about it at that point. I would think that we might be able to, spare some time to see what we can do with that place, if it's acceptable to everybody.
CAO.
Mr. Mayor. This is addressed to Matt. Is there a chance we can run a fire hose from the fire hydrant over to the septic tank and just feed it at like a rate of something like a bathroom would be for 10 gallons a minute? Throttle that fire hydrant down a little bit with a valve and then just run it into the septic tank and see if it'll actually perk.
Yeah, yes.
I think that would be the easiest way to find out. We don't have to put water into the building to understand a septic tank. The lid, I believe, is right to the west side.
Right outside the, the green door, their kitchen
Yep.
door, actually.
Yep, the kitchen door, there's a septic tank right there. We run a hose over to it, run water into it, see if it goes down and perks. Of course, all that land down there was underwater at the time in 2011 flood. It was about, what it was, 16, 18 inches maybe around that building and into the shooting range and all that. And so that is where I think that no one's ever tested it because essentially river water was in there and had it completely flooded. I think the J.C. Hall septic tank didn't get touched. The American Legion building that's down there now, that was, I think, right up to the curb and gutter up to the door, but it wasn't completely flooded. I can pull out the pictures. That was 2011, so 15 years ago, but we still have a lot of pictures. But I don't believe the Public Works has ever investigated doing that. That building is on the National Historic Register now, so there might be funds available that we could look at grant. The whole thing about the park master plan for Riverside Park, I think we have one. I'm not sure the new council members have even received that. The last 4 years, I'm not sure that we've forwarded that there's a plan for the park master plan. And what that plan, if I can recall, if there was we were trying to get to save those buildings as kind of mothball them, and then if a champion came forward that wanted to help pay for the upkeep and take over the building so that the citizens of Laurel weren't on the hook out of their tax dollars because we don't have a park maintenance district. We have no, so it's those funds that we would put into that building would compete with fire, ambulance, police, and trying to carve out some of that out of the general fund budget to go down there and put money into it. And that's where we were at, that nobody wanted to champion that building. And so we held it out in the park master plan for Riverside Park to have a champion come in and want to make the investment if it was worthwhile. It also is, like I said, it's in the floodplain. There's criteria. If it's 50% of damage, you have to bring it up to current floodplain standards, which is 2 feet above base flood elevation. So we're in the gray area there as a floodplain. We have to, if it's more than 50% damage to the overall worth of the structure, and that's where we're coming up with, the estimate comes in at say $100,000 to refurb that building. And then we get an estimate what the actual building is worth, and it's $100,000. That's 100%. And then you have to bring it up 2 feet base flood elevation, or you have to floodproof the building. I believe those are the two things, floodproof it or bring it up to the current floodplain standards. 3 feet? Oh. Yeah. 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 So there's still options out there if we wanted to move forward. And then the city's got to identify some funds if we want to go there and fix it. So right now, I don't believe it's in the current fiscal budget. But if we get some cost estimates, it's something that then the city council can consider for the September budget hearings. When we hold that, if we have a cost estimate, like Councilmember McKay was saying, we get some real numbers and we bring it in a budget, or the mayor prepares a budget with those costs, and then the council can considered at that point, or we can bring it forward to cost estimate what it would take and have that discussion before the budget is adopted and approved and see if there's funds available that we can carve out of the reserves or somewhere where we can find that. We can't do a lot of repairs if we don't have it within the budget though. So.
Councilmember Closey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When the Laurel American Legion went in and started refurbishing their building, there was an issue with the septic system there. And we wound up putting a new drain pipe from the building to the septic system because there was a swag in the pipe. And a plumbing outfit did go into those tanks there and do some investigating, but whatever was done was very minimal, and so far there hasn't been any problems with that sewer system to the American Legion building.
Well, being this is a discussion item, if it's okay with the council, let's let Matt get his boys and test the septic, the water, and give it a good look at. And then we can come back, he can come back and see, let the council know what he found. And then if you agree, you can make a motion to move forward to possibly go to the next step for a repair on a certain thing, or just have some more discussion then. So that's all right with everybody? We'll bring it back to another workshop. No other items? Oh, you have another item.
We do. Earlier today, Matt brought me the KLJ, the GAP Engineering Services. Currently we have a subdivision that needs a letter from our city engineer or city engineer, someone with a PE license, to approve water and sewer extensions for a subdivision that's been in the city limits since 1970s, I believe. And it's right off of West 9th Street, across from the Rock Church. And they can't write that, KLJ can't write that letter. Ryan Welsh, who was with us, they can't write that letter because the master service agreement expired in December. And so with that, Matt was bringing something forward, just like we were doing for the planning. And you guys have that in front of you. It's a stopgap measure. I believe I asked Matt to put in April 30th, and instead of waiting to get on another workshop and then get another meeting, if he had everything prepared, I just said we'll bring it, and the mayor agreed to put it on the agenda tonight just to have that discussion and then get a resolution for you next week to do that, so that Matt can get his letters submitted to the DEQ. And then, like I said, we have a subdivision for Mr. Solberg, who's in the audience tonight, going forward. And there's a sewer line extension that will have to be submitted. I don't believe, we may not need that, but we needed to fill out a municipal exclusion form to the DEQ. If they submit to the DEQ, if the council approves the subdivision, they're going to have a PE, a licensed engineer, to sign off on that and give that to the DEQ. So with that, I've got Matt here staying till the end of the meeting to have a discussion on that too as well.
Yeah, so this is very important to have somebody on staff just for minor little things. I tried signing the letters, they promptly sent them back. So we need somebody to sign them. And we do have more subdivisions coming up and stuff that needs to be looked over. And as Kurt mentioned, this is it'll get us by till the end of April, and hopefully by that time we have made progress in moving forward. And I believe Forrest is going to try to help us with that. So any questions, let me know. Otherwise,
Nope, that's all I have. So
Is that okay with council to have attached that to this meeting? Instead of waiting for another workshop, that would put us way behind, but that's up. Councilmember Wilkie.
Thank you. I would say, yes. I'm just speaking for myself, but if we've got business that needs to be done and we need to have an engineer or a company to help us do that, we better get on staff to get it done, because we get behind and then maybe we lose some things that we really need to have, like a tax base. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Attendance at the upcoming meeting? Announcements?
First,
Just real quick with Claire's fundraiser, I have Holly on Venmo. So if anybody wants to give me cash, I swear upon my life that I will Venmo Holly to get you your tickets.
That's one really special girl. I mean, my word. Councilmember Naylor.
I will not be at next week's meeting. I don't know if I need to tell you that now, but
Okay, that's fine. So, anybody else? All right,
I do.
CAO Markey Guard.
There is a local government training in Billings on February 10th from 6 to 9:30, I think. Oh,
Which
Five-
is it,
5:30
which is
to
a
8:30.
Tuesday.
it is a Tuesday. We either, there's enough council interest, so I believe the new council members, if you could make the February 10th, that would be a council meeting we'd have to do without your presence here, or I can work with the local government center and see if they can come in on the Monday, the 9th. I did have a chat with Dan Clark about a week ago, me and Brittany did. No, last Tuesday we had, and they were mentioning that they hadn't published it yet, the meeting, the training. And it's typically for the new council members, but it's also for any council member to understand the roles and responsibility of the council, the mayor, and how that dynamic goes. We usually get charged, it's $150 per person. The city picks up that part of your training budget in the city council. $500 for as many members as we want. So it's $150 per person. If the council is, we're doing it under announcements because we don't know what you want to do. If you want to attend the meeting, the training, it is in Billings, I believe at their new city hall building. And it would happen on the same night that we have council. So if there's interest of the council that they want to attend, we either got to have a resolution next week to move the meeting so that you can attend, or we attempt to try to get, if they're in the area, come in on the 9th of February, give the new council members some training on that, or some other time, but they're in the area on the 10th.
Our Public Works meeting was moved to Monday, the 9th.
So you already have a meeting on the
We already
9th.
have one.
Okay. So that is not going to work.
Brittany, is that a workshop or? It's
a
a
voting
voting
meeting.
meeting. Okay.
So I think we're just gonna have to let the local government center, I mean, if we have a quorum, we do need 5 affirmative votes on any action going forward. Currently, I can't predict what's going to be on the February 10th meeting because we haven't even had the February 3rd workshop, so I'm not sure.
Councilmember Naylor?
quick question. Is this separate from the other 2 trainings that I'm doing? Okay.
Councilmember Closey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dan Clark gives an awesome presentation, so I would encourage the new council members to attend that, as long as we still have 5 for our meeting.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes, thank you. I concur. It's great training. I think the first place to start is Councilmember Edgemond and Councilmember Naylor. Are you both available to possibly go to that on Tuesday, the 10th? I think that would be the first step, because if it's just those 2 and they were gone, then we've still got a quorum and they're able to go. But if they can't go, then it's a moot point.
Is there other interests though? Other council members want to go? What are the options of moving it to Wednesday?
If there's more than, I hate to cut us, some people happen. I think if there's 3 or more council members that are interested, we get a hold of Dan Clark and we have an in-person training here, maybe get some pizza
That
and
was-
have it here.
would be my other thought is he did such a good job and we were able to discuss things like specific to us. My thought is the best option would be to see if we could pick a date where he came here and all of us could attend that wasn't a regular Tuesday.
So that'd be your rather to have him come here instead of going into Billings.
My thought, but.
We can, yeah, we can try to set that up. It
Yeah.
worked before.
So, and typically when the host community, so like if we went to Red Lodge, I think the last one I went to was in Red Lodge, and that was a really good training because they have the similar government. Billings is not the same government as Laurel. They have a council manager form of government with a city mayor that actually is part of the council and votes. In Laurel, we have a charter that it's a mayor, city council form of government with the option of having a CAO. So that was on our charter. So it's not apples and apples when we consider ourselves the Billings. The council hires that manager and then they also direct it. The mayor doesn't direct the city manager. The council directs the city manager. So it is a different form of government. I think if they're going to tailor it towards Billings, you're going to get a mixed message of how Billings operates their government versus Laurel. Actually, Brittany brought that up. So maybe it would be better to have an in-person training that's specific to our charter and to the council members' roles and responsibilities here, as long as with the mayor's roles and responsibility. And you can thank the guy over there in the black coat. He was the mayor at the time. Former Mayor Ken Olson Jr. is in the room, and the charter went through under his administration in 2008. I think they started talking about it in 2007 with the local government center. And I think the guy's name was Ken Weaver, I believe, was the gentleman's name that the mayor at that time brought in and helped craft the charter and the draft charter and got it in front of the council and then eventually got it in front of the voters. So the local government center has always put on a great training. I agree with Councilmember McKay. It's a eye opener on some of the things that take place. Just for council's consideration, the nominating sequence, it only happens every 2 years. And Brittany and I spent about a half hour on the phone on how that nominating sequence was supposed to go. And so if you saw it was kind of choreographed last week, it was at the direction of the local government center on how to perform those duties. Because like I said, it only happens every 2 years. And we wanted to make sure that the nominations for council president and council vice president went smoothly. And so we did reach out to the local government center and get some advice on how to move that forward through the council. And that's the kind of training that I think the city tech council will need from the local government center, especially the new ones, on how we go. You can take here and learn for 2 years before you finally get it, or you can get it with people that they're in the business to train council members. So with that, I will call Dan Clark and try to get something set up for us locally.
That was a long answer. Short answer, we will do what you want. So, Councilmember Naylor?
If they will do a training here for all of us, absolutely. If they can't, I'm available and will attend on the 10th.
I'm pretty sure he will. He's pretty open. So, all right. If we have nothing else, we are